So in this video, first of all, good morning. I'm sorry. Where's my manners? Hey, so in this video, I'm going to talk about starting seeds. Now, I know for the beginner gardener, you may not be comfortable just yet starting your own seeds, and that's all right. If you are serious about gardening, you will get there. Trust me when starting your own seeds. All right. So when starting your own seeds, once again, it's not all the same. You know, some seeds when germinating require light, some don't. You know, um, you're going to start off with what they call a seed starting mix. You can find it in any of your stores, your big box stores, what have you, online, but you're going to pay for it. You're not going to get a large bag. They generally come in like a somewhat of a small bag, and you really can make your own seed starting mix. I want to say it's three main ingredients, give or take one or two. You have peat moss or cocoa core. You have what they call pure light, and then compost. That's pretty much it. Uh, some people use what's called what's called Fox Farm Happy Frog, and it's expensive compared to the other soils, but it's a really good soil. I'm not a sponsor or nothing like that, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying it's a really good soil to use if you don't want to make your own, or if you don't want to buy the seed starting mix because it's expensive. You're not going to get a large bag. You can go ahead and buy the Happy Frog soil and sift it out, and you can use that in lieu of making your own or the seed starting mix. All right. So generally, when you're starting your seeds, you want to first start with your herbs. All right. Uh, Herbs generally take a long time. Initially, when I first heard that, I thought it would just take a long time to germinate, which a couple of herbs, yeah. I mean, it's like watching paint dry. Some herbs take a long time to germinate, but then herbs in general, they're slow growers in the beginning. I'm talking about, man, so the average time to start seeds is like 6 to 8 weeks. But with herbs, you might want to start herbs like at the 10-week mark. I'm for real. Okay. For the exception, basil. Basil is not a slow grower and it germinates fast. You can start that at the rec like 6 weeks, what have you. Not basil, but I'm talking about the other oregano and different things. You might want to start those at the 10-week mark when germinating. All right. And what else? Also, I'm gonna talk about peppers. So in an earlier video, I talked about how you should never assume, and how some of the seasoned gardeners, when they're on the so YouTube, what have you, they may say things and it's not by design, but they kind of assume that the viewer knows what they're talking about. So when you hear people speaking on peppers, oftentimes they're not talking about bell peppers. They're talking about all the other peppers, the hot peppers, all that, but they're not talking about bell peppers. All right. So you hear people talk about when you're doing peppers, you should top them off. Topping the peppers off is when you're like pinching the top or cutting the top, so it'll bush out more and lieu give you more peppers, right? You also do this to zinnias. And I want to say you can do it to your marigolds as well. Zinnias and marigolds, especially marigolds. Marigolds is a companion plant that every gardener should have in their garden. But you should never top off, or it's suggested that you don't top off bell peppers. All right. And even when to top it off, there's like a point. Like if you're in a long growing season, yeah, as far as topping out the other peppers. But if you're in a shorter growing season or you've waited too late in the season, it might not be wise to top off your peppers. You might want to research that. Okay. But yeah, this is short and sweet. Just when starting your seeds, the mediums to use. And also, and I'm guilty of this, I just started doing it this year. Once your seeds germinate and you're like about, I guess, maybe 2 weeks in, something like that, you want to start fertilizing your seedlings. Okay. Have strength. Typically, you use a liquid fertilizer. I suggest fish emulsion, right? Can't quite remember. I think it's like a tablespoon to a gallon of water. So if that's the case, you want to cut that in half. Not use a tablespoon, but half a spoon, tablespoon. It's just half the strength. Okay. Also, with starting seeds, there's this thing called winter sowing. That's when you start your seeds outdoors. It's not as much work as indoors. And if you lack space to start seeds in stores, you can also winter sow. Uh, Throughout the season, save your milk jugs, your juice jugs, even your 2 liter, 2 liter soda bottles, things of that nature, and you can save them. And you could put your potting mixture soil in the jug, make sure it has drainage holes, and put a couple holes on the side for breathing. And you put your seeds in this soil and you tape it up and you set it outside. Now, some people say like you can just leave it and forget about it, but no, you have to watch it because you may have to water it, not as often as you would indoors, because what the winter sowing does, it creates like a miniature greenhouse, right? Just like when you're starting seeds and you put the dome. Not all seeds starting, you know, require the dome, but a lot of them do with the dome on top. So when you're winter sowing, it's like you're creating its own greenhouse, and that'll help keep the moisture and stuff in. Now there's gonna be times as the weather changes, you may, and you know it doesn't rain, you're gonna have to add some water, you know. But that winter sowing, if you don't have the space in your house and all the work that goes into sowing seeds indoors, you can basically cut half of that off as far as like the lighting, because you know when you're starting seeds indoors, you have to give it like 16 hours of a light. Not all light is created equal. You know, the different seed, what do you call the grow lights or what have you to use for your seed starting. And there's various ones you can search that and which ones to buy. Okay. All right then. More garden tips to come. Please like, share, and follow if you enjoyed this video. All right. All right.